Okay, hi guys. This video, just going back to normal now, so we're going to be breaking down some charts. I just wanted to show you that obviously this was the trade that I'd sent out to him, which was the Aussie dollar long. I ended up telling him, well, breaking it down to him on the lower time frames, and we broke this down together Sunday night on Skype as well, actually. So when I was speaking to him, sent him stop loss, take profit, which you can obviously see just over here. And then basically ended up going, speaking to him, holding it, and just the usual. Ends up doing that. He closed out his trades, whacked 10 lots on this trade, so he's pretty happy. And then yeah, that was pretty much it. But I'll probably be having another Skype session with him at some point. But anyone who's interested in these Skype sessions, you have to ask, otherwise we won't know what you guys are after. But anyway, getting back to this, I'm going to break down the Aussie dollar chart and pair, for you, and explain exactly how we took this trade. I'll also show you some other trades that I'm keeping an eye out on. Euro dollar, we had a nice break of the structure here in this trend line, and basically, essentially, I was waiting for a break retest. However, never came, rallied without us, so I'd still expect to pull back on the higher time frames, but it's something where it sort of missed the opportunity, so I'm not really waiting around for it. Moving through the pairs, we had a cheeky gold long as well. We had a break to retest on the higher time frame. As you see, just a simple trendline break retest. I've got my zones now down to a T, so obviously I was perfecting these originally, which I've shown you guys, where it's all stop orders just like this. But now I've actually nailed the zones down to basically like a couple pips, which I'm really happy about, because it's just taken me bloody ages. But yeah, this was a gold long that we had. It was quite nice. Obviously the risk rewards aren't huge, but they're quite consistent, which is exactly what we want. So we had a trendline break on dollar yen, break retest, pull back to this one. I actually think I showed this in another video. But yeah, I'll just show you again. We had market gap on Sunday, way past the TP. And then essentially we just closed out past here, which is quite nice. You can see the way I draw my support and resistance there, they're very well respected. And that's why you can get the best entry, but you need to do it with a criteria. So basically I'm going to break down some charts that I have for you now. We still have New Zealand dollar, which is still a nice long. Definitely see it pulling up to this zone up here. But I'm still expecting a possible move when I can get my pencil. Bloody hell. I never use a, oh there we go, never use a pencil. Anyway, we could be expecting, so what we had was a nice clear trend line on the higher time frames and the 4 hour time frame here. We've had a support and resistance zone that has been tested several times. If you zoom back, you can see it's always rallied back up here, no matter what. Or if it's gone for a long, it's used this level as basically a booster level. So you can see back there. So essentially what we're doing, we've caught the break retest on New Zealand dollar, which is this. We're now waiting for a pull up, which already happened, it exploded up. I'm anticipating a move back down, maybe to around, basically we're talking in the region of here to here. I'm expecting a pullback before we can extend upwards. And then obviously using fib retracement tool as well, we can possibly line up for some extra confidence and confirmation for us. Sorry, my mouse is so retarded on the Mac, it always zooms in like this. Okay, so ideally for us, we'll be looking to target between these two zones, so this would be a perfect opportunity for us to get in on this New Zealand dollar rally. Obviously we've got it on the break retest here, but we can wait for a pullback before it explodes back up to this level again. And obviously anyone unfamiliar with risk to reward, we can essentially play a nice move just like this. Basically we could have a, I think we'd go for a market execution order on this one. Front run the stops, okay, before this target. So we're going for the minus 61.8. We could play the risk reward to about just under 3 to 1. We could go for a 3 to 1, so it'll be 44 pip stop loss, 133 pip gain, so that's something to look out for, which we're quite interested in. But yeah, we caught the break retest, but definitely want to scale in and yield a bit more on the trade here, so that's what we're going to do there. Going through the charts, we do have a few more pairs. Swiss franc yen. I'm just keeping an eye out on it, but I have a feeling that we could see a break through this zone. It just depends how far this pair actually wants to fall. However, just lining it up. Yeah, so the reason I'm drawn between these two zones, obviously there's hard rejection between here and here. I'm just trying to line up essentially where all the candles are meeting, and then once I've done that, I just want to have a browse back on the lower time frame to see how reactive the orders are. So obviously people like to embed orders on lower time frames, and you won't see those huge influx of orders go through. However, on the volume chart, you will be able to see those candles become quite large. So if you drop down to the lower time frame, you can see sometimes big explosions but push back down. And when I say lower time frame, I mean 4 hours. Yeah, you can see this zone's quite well respected, but we just need to see how it reacts around here, because I'm not really too keen to short this. I'm not too keen to long it either until we have a bit better structure, but we'll see how this plays out. Euro Aussie, we're in on this at the moment on the personal accounts. So essentially what we had here on the weekly, we had some nice, obviously some support and resistance which has been tested. The old adage is old support becomes new resistance and old resistance becomes new support. So these are the really key levels we want to look for. This is where the most of the reactions happen as well within the market. And then what we do, we drop down to a lower time frame and just start to drop our Fibonacci's, our trend lines, and just see how basically the market looks whilst we do that. So like for me, it doesn't need to be too accurate. I just need to see that a trend line has been broken and the market is anticipating a change in direction. Anyone that chased supply and demand, you will see that this old area of demand has now become supply. This area of supply is still being held as supply and being tested perfectly to the wick. We'll be targeting minus 27%, which I think could go down here. However, we could front run it to this lovely blue horizontal, I don't want to say trend line, but support line that we've drawn in. But Fibonacci always seems to play out quite well, so we're just going to go for minus 27.2. However, depending on how the market plays and reacts around this level, we could extend it to minus 61.8%. Moving on, Euro New Zealand, definitely a nice short on this as well. However, we could see a possible retest of the highs again. We've had a nice sort of head and shoulders formation, which for us is quite... Let me get my brush. So anyone trading, you'd sort of see, like for me, as long as you just got that sort of structure here, bang, and then what we'd expect is a sell-off, retest the neckline, and then sell off again. And then a way we can exit, we can figure out the exit for this trade is obviously there's ways to do it from the high to the low and target 61.8, which could be down here. But if we're doing it off a higher time frame, if we move to a daily, we could then possibly play it this way around and just say what, for instance, we could go for a 61.8% target, which would be quite nice actually. Yeah, so just looking at these zones here. So this, obviously I'll go through this in detail with you guys, but I just want to do a quick breakdown of what trades we're in on at the moment. And then I'll break down a chart completely fresh for you guys. But yeah, this still looks like a really good ideal sell. So anyone, if this video is up in time and it's still around this area, then it'll be a good sell for you guys. We've got New Zealand yen, dollar Swiss franc as well. Nice break of the support and trend line, which we had on the higher time frames. That was on the weekly. And as you can see, there's a huge one here, which is the only thing is that we're just anticipating a test of it. However, if it doesn't play out this week, hopefully we can see a wick fill. It will dip back down, take out the TPs, then maybe wake its way back up. Or we could see essentially a break of this trend line. So hypothetically, we've got a candle here, comes down, wicks it, comes back up, then goes up, back down, retest, and then we'll see it come back down. Probably see it fill the lows around here. So that'd be something to look out for. And obviously this is on the weekly time frame, and as you know, I do enjoy a good swing trade, so it's just worth keeping in mind. So anyway, we're going to go on a... I'm just seeing what currencies we could analyse that I haven't done already. So euro dollar, I'm just looking on daily. This could be a nice cheeky pullback. If we had a nice bearish wick down and then rally back up, that'd be ideal for us. But I'm just trying to pick currency that I know a lot of people would trade and find it kind of useful. And it's also worth noting that gold's a nice sell here because it's our sell line as well to short it. So that's worth noting. Right, I'm going to find a nice pair for us to trade. Okay, dollar CAD looks nice. Right, so if I was going to trade dollar CADs, what I'll be doing is checking the monthly time frame first. I basically want to see how price reacts around this level. We can already see that there's an influx of orders around here, so we anticipate a lot of orders will be placed around this area here. We can also see that price has been used as a lever in this area. So, so you can see, obviously we've had blocks here, blocks there, blocks there, blocks there, just like tweezers. But basically, yeah, this is just for us to anticipate that there will be some moves around here. And then we see we've had a nice bearish engulfing candle on monthly, and this could essentially just be the pullback before we have a few wick fills down to lower regions down here. So now that we know we need to look for possibly some sells on a higher time frame, we're going to break down to weekly. And then what I'm going to do is just label out some support and resistance for you guys, but I'm going to do it quite quickly. Actually, we can drop down to a daily. Just focus on this area here, which we're trading. And then for me, I have like a really specific way of doing it. But obviously everyone's different in the way that they trade and that they target their trades as well. So I'm just going to go here. Push this down just a tiny bit more. It's a bit of a sticky one. It's probably a reason I haven't traded this. Right. For us, this would be... Yeah, this is a good zone. And then we're going to go for another one. So I'm just using Alt H on here, and I'm trading using a Mac. So essentially what I'm doing is just labeling out and lining out good areas for us to keep an eye out for. What I'm also looking for as well are these wicks here. So you can see these hard wick, hard rejections. For us, this would label out. So if we were to just put our resistance on this, if you were to scan through, you can see how price reacts around these levels. And essentially what they are, there's levels for us to keep an eye out and just be careful and see what happens around these levels. So on this one, obviously we have people coming in, sellers coming in around this level. We've also had buyers coming in. But because we're in bearish territory, what we're looking at is this support and trend line, which is what I'm looking at now. And it's just wondering whether... So I'm going to drop down a bit more, see if there's one on the weekly. I'm going to go down here and just see what's available to us. Bang, bang. Yeah, so this is going to break very soon. I feel like it's already going for this sell-off now. And what I'll do, usually what I'll do is do all my work and then I'll add the Fibonacci's in after, but it already looks like it's touched 78.6%. But I'll do it anyway and just see after what's happened. Then basically what we're looking for are our profit targets. So we're looking for cushiony areas around this where we could front run the targets just to make sure that we're actually safe on this trade. So what I'll be looking for is a target to front run to about here. And then I would be looking here. And basically I'm just working my way along the chart, just seeing what is an ideal cushion area. Okay, so for us this would be an ideal TP because sometimes it'll wick it and not actually hit the go through the zone like we planned. So now what I'm doing is drawing the Fibonacci from the high on the daily down to the low. And yeah, as I was mentioning, 78% just got wicked here. So now obviously we're in bearish territory. Not bearish territory, but we're anticipating it. So I'm anticipating a break and retest, probably like this, maybe. Not today, could be tomorrow. Either way, just a nice trade like that. But the best way to obviously exit a trade is the high. So what we do is the high to the last low before the break, and you can see that will target will usually go for minus 27.2%, which also plays out to be near 38.2% on a larger time frame and near our zone as well. So then this is giving us enough confidence that the market is going to come down here. So now what I'm going to do, just get rid of all of this because I hate having those in my chart. Then essentially what I'm going to do is drop down to a lower time frame, whack out my rectangle as well, and then start lining up good areas of supply and demand for us to trade off, and basically us to trade off of it. So labeling out these sections here. And people could argue that, yeah, this area gets used as a level to buy. Yes, it does, but if the rally was to continue, it would have broken out, used this level like it did, and it would have continued its uptrend or had a pullback, slight pullback to the last highs here, and then would have continued rally. We could see a bounce, but at the moment it's just highly unlikely. And then what we're going to do is obviously break down. We're going to mark out using our horizontal rays, the highs, which need to come back and get targeted. So there. So essentially what we'll be doing is, in an ideal scenario, set some limit orders, which would be for it to pull back and then to sell. But if you really want to get some confirmation, which is what we always go for, I'd wait for a break retest. And you guys know I love to do my charts before, like unlike everyone else where they analyse a market after it's happened. That's why I always save these as well, just because it's good to come back for reference as to why you took the trade. But essentially what we're waiting for on dollar CAD on the daily is exactly what we had on Aussie dollar, but it's just the opposite way around. So you can just see it's flipped upside down. So if we were to invert it, see how it's basically the same move? Yeah. So obviously we had that flash crash here, but it's still the same play. We're still waiting for this pop out, retest, come back to this zone here, and we're going to try and catch a rally. We'll catch a leg up to here. And obviously if you can imagine, we're trading on the daily time frame. So essentially what that means is that if you can get down on the lower time frames, because we don't have enough information to work with at the moment. Like we've got it, but we don't know if it's going to tank, it's going to retest. We just need to wait for this. But once we've got more information, we can start to build a picture as to where we're going to enter. And once we've got an idea where we want to enter, so hypothetically we want to enter here, we'll say, for instance, look at the last highs. Every time it pulled back underneath this zone, that's where the last highs were. So we'll mark out the last high is here, stop just above TP to our cushion, which is down here, just under a 3-to-1, and for a short that's real nice. And essentially that's it. That's like the type of trade we're waiting for. But obviously we've got loads of data coming out. You can see down here there's so much. But like I said to everyone, news is just an excuse for the market to move to where it wants to get to faster, as opposed to then just sitting around waiting. Like how many times have you guys noticed, like, news will come out, it'll go in one direction, for instance here, comes down, sells. So where everyone's looking to sell off some news, I'm actually looking to buy here. Okay? So that's where the difference is between the people that are losing and the people that are buying, is that they'll just trick everyone into thinking that it's going to go another way, where like you already know what the plan is for that trade. So that's that really, and then just going back on gold, seeing what's cracking on here. Nothing exciting really, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to start doing these more often, and then when I actually have some crystal clear setups, and when I'm taking some trades, I'm going to take the trades live as well with you guys. So I'm going to try and get. The only issue I have is that I have three computers. One's PC, two are PC, and one's a Mac. And I do all the trading on my PC because it's quite hard to get MT4 on a Mac. Or I take the trades off my phone, but because I have a lot of systems on the PC, I use a PC. But ideally, I want to screen record two screens and have it side by side, so you can see obviously how I work out my lot sizes. Like, there's a lot more to it, which I'd love to show you guys. But I thought I'd just make a quick video and just see what we could cover. Here you go, like dollar Swiss franc. Even if you just draw the Fibonacci up from here to here, you just see how the levels respect it so well. But just definitely target the big major swings because they will always come through better. But yeah, look, we're having a break retest of the underside, and you can see now that the candle, the pressure on it to sell is a lot more than buyers coming in. So we can expect dollar Swiss francs to go down to target, which would be ideal. It's just this small bit here, which could be, there could be just a huge influx of orders just waiting here, which we don't know about. And they could just boost it one more time, fake a rally up, back up to here to entry, and then tank it back down. That's what usually will happen. So they'll trick people into getting into a long, everyone get into the long, and then it's actually just, it's just putting up the orders so everyone getting a better price. So hypothetically, like institutions, they're not going to sell, so they'll let all the buyers come in. They don't put any pressure on the sellers, so they're letting everyone flow through the orders. And then as soon as you get to this zone, just imagine just a huge wad of orders. Like the best way to describe it is just like that. Okay, imagine these are all orders just sitting right here, but nobody knows that those orders are there. And as soon as the market taps it, these are why these huge wicks end up coming through. As soon as the market taps it, just imagine this whole load of orders just get pushed down straight onto these, like millions of orders getting pushed down, and that's how the market moves really quickly. But obviously, you guys will learn this in time. But you know, I think you guys already know it anyway, so I don't need to repeat it. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get some more videos done at some point this week. But like I said, guys, I've got a month of just sweet F all to do. So if anyone's interested and does want some one-on-ones, whatever time zone, whatever country, I'm happy to do that. So just get in contact with us.